Everybody ready? Everybody ready? Everybody ready? Maybe. I'd like to call this meeting of the Horn Lake Board of Aldermen to order. For all of y'all's listening, we certainly appreciate you taking the time to participate in your government. That's what makes for good government. At this time, I'd like to call on Alderman Bledsoe for our invocation.
Bow your head, please. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this city, and thank you for dying on the cross so that we may go to heaven. And the ones that are not saved, may they get saved. And thank you again for the city and all the people that work here, and the aldermen and the mayor, that we may do things to glorify you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman David Young?
And salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Roll call, please, Mr. Jim.
Alderman Klein.
Here.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Geis.
Here.
Alderman Bostic.
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
Alderman Dupree.
Present.
Alderman Young.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. First item on the agenda is the vote on municipal docket. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
I make a motion to approve the municipal docket.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second? Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Number 2 on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
Alderman Bostic.
make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through H if nobody has any questions.
We have a motion by Alderman Bostic. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Dupree. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. We're on new business. Number 3, letter A. Do we have a motion?
Mayor.
Alderman Dupree.
Make the motion to request the adoption of ordinance increasing the rate for the garbage collection.
We have a motion by Alderman Dupree. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Young. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Campbell.
I just wanted to let you and the board know that I guess I put in my memo about adding a sentence about the CPI increase, such that if the CPI increase from ADSI should go up, then the garbage rate should go up, but not to exceed 3%. And the way I had it worded originally, that would only apply to the single-family residences. But we do have about 10 or 12 small commercial accounts as well that we pick up garbage for. So I have worded it such that the CPI increase will apply to them as well as the residences as well. So just wanted y'all to be aware of that.
Is your motion still good, Alderman Dupree?
Yes, sir, yes.
Wait, is this, the second still good?
Yes, sir.
Alderman Johnson.
What is CPI?
Consumer Price Index, you'll hear that. There are different categories, and I don't know that I can quote the one that's in our contract, but it's a nationally recognized Consumer Price Index, and if that goes up, it's been going up 6, 7, 8, 9% on some years, and thankfully our contract just said 3% was the max, so that's what it has gone up in the past, and that's what our current contract says as well.
They'll have a constant CPI increase as it increases up and down in this contract.
That's right.
Thank you, sir.
Any more discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Jim.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. Letter B, do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I think that's just on there for discussion.
That's just for discussion? All right, I know Alderman Bostic requested everyone to see a copy of the contract at the last meeting, and that's provided for you. Thank you, Mr. Jim. I spoke to Ms. Caldwell, Supervisor Caldwell today. The county is completing, with the elections, they kind of got a little behind them, just like everybody else. They're completing theirs this month, with the new contract they're going to present to the board. And they'll be here for the contract will be here for the December meeting. Trying to get everything kind of in unison with all the other libraries in the county. Some of them will be a little different because like South Haven and Olive Branch own their buildings. We don't own our buildings, so we have in ours, as you can see in the old one, some discussion. I mean, some items in there where we have to pay for the grass, but that comes out of the mill that's voted in the budget. Mill is what, 236 now, 238?
Yeah, right, a little over 235, so almost 236.
Does anybody have any questions, anything about it?
I had one quick question. I had requested from Jim the library funding for 2023, and I guess I'm confused on here, asking Billy that the money that we spend for the building maintenance and the professional services, the grass cutting and all the utilities, you've got it on here that we paid that separate. It didn't come out of the mill.
No, it comes out of the mill. That's a part of the interlocal that we've continued to pay.
And what is the city of Horn Lake administrative salary that was on there that we paid about $10,000? We have to administer this, I guess you could call it a department. So we allocate some funds to that, so that reduces our general fund in that way. Okay, thank you.
And I can pass this, a copy of this down. This is what was approved in the budget for the library fund, showing the ad valorem tax at $235,600 revenue coming in with that 1 mil, and kind of the breakdown of the expenses that we incur. And what I sent out, right now we haven't spent any, or this past year we didn't spend any on building maintenance. They didn't have any issues. In the past we've had to fix a door or something like that, but the other things that we do provide in professional services is the landscaping contract for the grass cutting, and then the janitorial service comes out of that line item. Utilities is Entergy and Atmos, and you can see that we've got in this year's budget we've got 27,000 projected. In professional services we've got 45,000 projected, and then the last item there, the 140,250 is what the library requests for their operation, which it comes out of that complete millage. So you can see that everything's broken out to equal that, where it does not go above that 1 mil.
I just had one question for you, Mayor. Since they're gonna come at the board meeting, you said the 1st of December.
Sir?
You said they're gonna come present the new agreement.
Contract.
Does any other municipality in the county have an interlocal agreement?
Every one of them.
They all do? Okay, cool. All right.
Yes, sir, that's what I was meaning when they say some of them might be a little different, but it'd be like some of them own their building, whereas we don't own the building. If y'all remember, Ms. Barnes, Ms. Gilbert, the head of the Horn Lake Library, came and requested an allocation of $140,250 to comes out of that mill. It's not separate from the mill. It comes out of that mill. Mr. Bill Brown called me today. He works with the regional library, and he said they were worried that the board might not be willing to vote that, even though it's in the budget. And if it didn't, they would have to reduce the hours and maybe a staff at the library. So to ease there, if nobody has any objections to that, it's basically what we do every year, take it out of that mill that's allocated to the library. Would anyone be willing to make a motion tonight to authorize that $140,250 to the library?
Well, I didn't know we were going to be discussing that this evening. I was going to ask you if we could discuss that on the next agenda.
Well, they were kind of wanting to know, we don't have to.
Right, well, I had some questions for Billy on that, and I wanted to get some answers on that, and I've got some material that I'm working on getting together for that. And I'm all for supporting the library program, but I want us to understand some things of where that money's going to.
Yeah. Well, thanks to y'all having the library come here, we cleared up the issue about what kind of books are available for our youth. And I want to commend y'all for doing that. That was a big, big step. But since this money comes out of the mill that's already in the budget that was approved, y'all still don't want to vote on the $140,000 tonight?
Well, I have questions on that, and I've got documentation to back up what she said is incorrect. And that's why I wanted to prepare myself a little bit better to present that to the board.
May I ask what she said that was incorrect, because I don't know.
I've got books here that she said are not in the library that are.
Okay, but it's nothing to do with the money.
Well, that's what I'm saying, talking about the money, that what it's used for is to buy these books. They're still there.
But I know what you're meaning, that this money is, these books were purchased after the board made its,
No, these books are available in the system now.
in Horn Lake Library.
Well, you want to get in the whole discussion about it now, or you want?
No, the library, I remember as soon as I said it, if you were go to one and request a book, they can pull it out of another one.
Correct. When we put the money in, Olive Branch puts in $420,000. South Haven puts in $300,000. We put in another $140,000. I haven't got around to the rest of municipalities. But everybody's got to understand, when we put this money in, it goes into one big pool. It's not just to support the library here in Horn Lake. And just because we may deem something that we find indisputable or unethical or whatever it is, to be pulled out of here, like you said, they can go online and get it. There's 14 libraries, there's 5 counties. So that book's still available. So I would just like to be more prepared to go into this a little bit, because what I talked to Billy about was we can have this money set aside to give to the library, but I would like us to be able to control what our library does. And as a board, I feel like that we should all feel that way of what goes on. So if they've got programs going on, we can vote on those programs and deem that money for those programs, and not just put it in a pool to be able to do things that we feel like are not right.
So if I understand you correctly, vote the funds on each individual program.
Yes, sir.
Is that the will of the board? Alderman Dupree.
So you're saying, it's like a business that we put conditional uses on. So we're gonna put a conditional use on the library for the books, right? That's just an analogy, but, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I just wanna get that cleared up.
I just feel like that as a board, we should know what's going on with the money that we're allocating to go towards, and have the knowledge of what's going on. This is a crazy culture we live in right now. We as a board should have say on how the money's spent. And how else can we do that? if we don't know. So if they send in a request and say, we've got these 6 programs coming up, and this is what we're gonna be doing, the Splash at the Park, or whatever it is, Halloween, whatever it is, we can just say yes. And the money's already set aside to spend that, instead of putting it in one big pool.
Ma-
Go ahead.
Alderman Johnson.
Alderman Bostic, did you say that the books that you were looking at, were they in our library, or are they just accessible from the other?
They're accessible from any library in the 14 library, 5-county system.
Yes, and that's one thing I did not think about when we did discuss it. So yes, anything that they have, we have, and we all share out. So you're absolutely right about that. But that's something, like I said, I did not think about.
Alderman Young.
I understand where Alderman Bostic's going. I understand the path you're going down. The problem I see with that is I don't think this board needs to get into the library business. They do a really good job down there. They do a great job in DeSoto County. They have a lot of oversight. It is concerning about what you're talking about. That is concerning. But I just really don't see where we need to get into the library business and say, nope, you can't do this program, or nope, you can't do that program. I think we can keep a thumbtack on it and keep our thumb on the beat of it. But I don't think we need to attach their funds to that. That library does so much for this community and does so much for those children, not only about the books. And, you know, and some of this responsibility is the parents' responsibility. It's not our responsibility. They elect us to make the decisions, of course. But I just don't believe we need to get into the library micromanagement business. And, you know, and Mr. Billy, you'll understand this term, we've sort of set a precedence at taking care of the library. Do we need to give them any more? Probably not until the December thing, but I would be in favor of giving them so nobody has to lose their job right before Christmas. I mean, I think that's a real threat. I mean, the $140,000 would probably go directly to our library to help those women down there. I don't see where it would hurt that, in my opinion. But the rest of it, I think we could wait until we see what the guts are of what the Board of Supervisors is coming down with, and we get it in front of us and we can sort of digest it and digest what you've got there as well. But I think the 140, I would like to think we could go ahead and release that and give that to the library and say, okay, here, but don't ask for nothing else, because we got some due diligence we got to do, because they sort of depended on, and we did approve that budget. But we can, I say we can, I don't know that we can, Mr. Billy's a legal expert on that, but I would think we could hold on to some of that funds until then, until we find out exactly what you've got there and what's going on. I think it's exactly right, but I don't think 14 different libraries, I don't think we're going to have the judicial oversight of that. If this library can access 14 other libraries, then they can access it. We're not going to be able to control that. That's way above our head. So now you're getting into First Amendment stuff. And so that's dangerous, in my opinion.
Anyone else have anything?
Yes, Mayor.
Alderman Bostic.
I guess there's confusion there. I never said not to give them the $140,000. I just don't want it to go into a pool of First Regional.
Well, I agree with that as well, but I don't know how we
So-
do that. That's the way, we've set that precedent.
So that's what I'm saying. So if they have programs that we all support, and we will support 99.9% of the programs they have for children to read and write and do arithmetic and things of that nature, that's fine. And we can just say, we can vote on that, but to put that in there, I don't want to be responsible for a child to stumble.
Agree.
And y'all all know the verse. If we make that decision, then we might as well cast ourselves in the sea with a boulder around our neck.
Well, I agree.
And for her to say that these books are not accessible and they're doing what they can, yes, they are. And I'm not saying that we don't give them the money. And it goes back to, and to quote your comment before, don't threaten to get a result.
Well, now,
When they said, well, if we don't get the money, somebody's gonna lose their job.
well, but that's,
Or if we don't, do this, this is what's gonna happen. We don't need our back against the wall in decision-making like that.
I totally agree with you, Alderman, on that. However, I'm back to the same square again. Alderman, we can't, I don't see how we as a board tell 14 libraries what they're gonna have on our shelves. That's above our head. At the same time, I understand your concerns about this library, which is in our city. I got it, I get it. I think we're barking up the wrong tree. We can probably be concerned about and address our concerns with the library system and say, hey, we don't think you should have these books. But I don't think we have the right to tell them they can't. We're walking on just the opposite of what you just said there on the First Amendment. We don't have that power. We don't have that power with these people sitting down here. We certainly don't have that with the library. Now, I agree with what you're saying about the 140,000, but I think we need to release the funds to them. I don't agree but I mean, I don't know if that was a threat. I didn't hear the context. I think it's a realistic option that may happen. And as far as it going to the pool, I don't think we can tell the library what to do with it under our current agreement. We're gonna have to have a new agreement, and that's what the supervisors are coming up with. So if we release the $140,000, which I'm in favor of doing, and holding on to the rest until we see what this agreement is December 1st, and have time to digest it, then we can make a decision whether we want to move forward with the agreement or not. That's the way I think it would be fair, because we have to play by the laws as well. We told them we'd do this. So I understand your argument, though, and I agree with it.
Alderman Johnson.
There may be some safeguards that we still could discuss with them. Even if those books are accessible to our citizens here in Horn Lake, does not mean that they have to pick them up here in Horn Lake.
That's right.
That can be another option if, we studied more and got with the library to see if that's possible. But, they can still order them, because you can get them, you can reserve them at home online. You can do it on your phone, reserve them anywhere. You can just pick them up also anywhere.
Right.
That could be an option for them.
Good idea.
I didn't know you could do it online,
Yes, sir.
Where did you get that list, Alderman?
Just going into the First Regional Library and
In other words, these are books that you don't,
that are available.
that
And
you don't.
this is just the beginning. There's probably hundreds.
Yeah, but I mean,
And the problem is if you're an adult and you have a child, and you're exactly right, it's a parent's responsibility. But if we don't if we supply the money from this municipality along with the other cities in our municipality, easy read books for 2 years old, there's a problem. There's a problem. These are easy read books. These are picture books. And I'm not trying to get into the library's business,
No, I understand.
but let me tell you, the library doesn't function unless the money that is spent by the citizens of this city goes shopping. So our decision is not just on us, it's on our neighbors around us. And I can promise you, the majority of them, if they knew that a child can go in there at 5 years old on a free card and get 2 books and check them out, and a librarian can't do anything about it, why do we spend the money to even make those books accessible on something that we control with our money? If a parent wants their kid to read that information, they can go order it somewhere else. We can control what's in our library system because it's our money that operates them. Without our money, they can't operate.
anyone else?
Mayor.
Alderman Dupree.
So I'm gonna go back to what I said a while ago, conditional use. Can we release the money and say, library, these books, we don't think that's right? We'll give you the money if you take these books out. we give you money now and give you time to take these books out of the system? Just a question.
Anyone else?
Do that?
Alderman Bledsoe.
Mr. Campbell, what do you think about all this legal stuff?
It's all up for discussion, Alderman Bledsoe. I think, like Alderman Bostic described what Alderman Dupree is suggesting. There's a way to, I guess, limit the objectionable books by not funding the system. And so, that's probably doable.
So does that mean they close the library?
No, I don't think that'll happen.
You can click and delete a book, it doesn't.
Ma'am?
I said it's not hard to take books out of the system, as far as I know. You just have to scan it and hit a button and they're out. So, it depends on the amount. And this still may fall with First Regional as well, not just Horn Lake. This sounds like a First Regional issue, so.
Y'all make a good point. We're discussing one library, and there's 14 libraries in 5 different counties. And I agree with Alderman Bostic said, and Alderman Dupree, Alderman Johnson, Alderman Young, and I believe I was the first one to bring it up about that American Library Association, and was worried, and then was it Ms. Gilbert that came down here, and Ms. Barnes? And, of course, when we talked to them, we talked just about the Horn Lake Library. They told us what would be in there and what wouldn't be in there. And I'm not questioning what books you have, sir, but basically what you have is the books that you object to, which I would probably object to also. I do not believe our youth should be exposed to all of that. They did not threaten Mr. Bill Brown. Y'all know Mr. Brown. He doesn't threaten. He said if they don't get the funds, they would probably have to cut back on staff and hours. And every one of us up here saw that printout from the library, how many books they check out, how many people use the computers, all of the programs. They're going to be helping with Spooktacular this coming weekend. All the programs they have for our youth and for, not just for the youth, but for all of our citizens during the summer and all year long. They're having a Veterans Day program on November the 3rd. So, do we have a motion of any kind? Alderman Young.
2 things. One, it's great that we're talking about this, because when I was a youngster, we used to go to the library and check out National Geographic. Anyway, they took those.
Polynesian Islands.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'd like to do is go ahead and make a motion, sir, if we could, to release the $140,000 in funds to the library system and wait for any more fund release until we get the report or get the contract or the suggestion from library or the supervisors, and we get the rest of Mr. Bostic's material there that he got, so we can all digest what's going on. But I do think we owe them the 140. They didn't see this coming, we didn't see this coming, but I do agree with what you're saying, that we do need to take and maybe tweak everything and maybe take Mrs. Johnson's idea.
We have a motion by Alderman Young. Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Excuse me, Mayor.
Sir, do we have a second?
I just
Do
have a question.
you have a second? Sir?
I have a question.
No, do you have a second? We gotta go through that
Yes,
first.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion by Alderman Young. We have a second by Alderman Dupree. Alderman Dupree.
Yes. What other monies after the 140 are they gonna be getting, and where is it coming from?
That mill, it goes up to 235,600. So that would leave about 95,000.
Okay, so if we release this 140 and we go with Alderman Bostic's, we make the decision to go with what he is saying or wants to do, and if they accept it, then we we release the other monies. Is that correct? We do that?
That was the discussion. I don't know what y'all will decide on.
Mr. Billy?
Yeah, let me jump in, because the 140 is the discretionary funding that we have available now. The other stuff, the 90, is stuff that's going to come due and we need to be paying. That's the cleaning, janitorial, repairs. We really can't stop the funding on those. Those are gonna come monthly, and we really do need to pay those. 140 is the stuff that we're kind of have the discretion on whether or not we're going to fund.
Yes, I might say, I mean, I'd mentioned last board meeting that those other items we've continued to pay, because if we didn't, Entergy would cut off the power, Atmos would cut off the gas, you know, the building would cease to function if we didn't continue to pay those that are included in the interlocal. You know, the grass would have mounted up, and then our code enforcement would have gone over there. And the building wouldn't have been cleaned. So we've continued that just so the electricity is not cut off.
Alderman Klein.
Well, so, in saying that, Jim, then the wages and salaries, where they're concerned that they won't have the money to pay salary, they'll have that. I mean, from what you're saying right
No,
now.
that is city, since we kind of manage this.
So that's
fund.
our part?
Yes, the 140 for their operations, whether it's they pay one of the
Okay.
staff people or they fund the programs that they do over there.
And that's what you're saying, Alderman Bostic, is they take that money and put it in the pool, 140,000. Okay.
Mayor.
Alderman Geis.
I have some of the same concerns everyone else has. I guess my question is, would the time be to discuss changes down there that we would prefer? Would that be best suited at the time where we're discussing the new contract with the library? Because we currently have a contract, and these items here are things that are listed in that contract that we agree to pay. So I think, just my opinion, when we're discussing the new contract with them, we could discuss some safeguards to prevent our library having access to those books from the other libraries. Isn't that your concern, that the I don't know if we could, if we have the ability to tell a regional library that they can't have those books in other jurisdictions. That would be us telling Batesville, well, you can't have those books down there. That's up to Batesville to determine that. I think we could possibly, while we're discussing this new contract with First Regional Library and our library, say we would like access for our people to have that cut off to those books in the other areas being transferred to our library. But I don't know if we have the ability to, of course, we could just cut off all our funding and we're done with it, but I don't think any of us don't want to have a library. So I think this is something that we need to, when we do this new contract, we need to sit down, or representatives from here need to sit down with the people at this library and come up with a solution so we can fund it in the future on the next contract. But when we did our budget and we did this contract, we agreed we would pay this mill to the library. So I feel like we're obligated to, but in the future, we certainly don't have to if they don't meet us somewhere in the middle on this issue. The one concern I had was when, maybe I misunderstood her, she said that the parents didn't even have a right to know what the kids were checking out at the library, and I personally have an issue with that. My understanding of the First Amendment, parents have a right over their kids and what they're doing when they're juveniles. So, you know, that may be some First Regional policy, but I don't think that's constitutionally correct. But I don't want to stop their operation while we're trying to work out a better system for us here. You know, I fully agree with what you're saying, and I think when we do this contract, we could come up with some solution. That's just my opinion.
Anybody else?
Mayor.
Alderman Bostic.
Yeah, I just wanted to clear something up. They have one individual in the First Regional Library System that chooses the books to be available. One person. One. Why would you choose books to add to the crazy culture that we already have now, when those books could be available through Amazon, through Target, through wherever else? Why would they be accessible in our library system? They do not have to be. They don't have to choose that book. Do we want to be part of that? Do we want our name attached to that? I sure as heck don't. Beliefs won't let me.
Any more discussion? Alderman Alderman Bledsoe.
If, we agree to do this, later on, we can come back and adjust things? Is that what I'm hearing?
Basically, you're gonna be, just like Alderman Young said, you're gonna be running a library system. I agree with everybody. I was the one that brought it up and concerned about books in the library, and the rest of the board was too. Every one of us, and we heard the librarians, I'm being repetitious, come down here and tell us that they wouldn't put any in. Alderman Bostic made a good point that I didn't think about. You can order them, get them, and I certainly didn't know you could get them online. But like Alderman Bostic said, they got one person, I'm going by what Alderman Bostic says, to pick out the books. Well, who's gonna pick out the books that you can't put in? Alderman Bostic's got a list tonight that he picked. Those are objectionable to him. What if Ms. Johnson's got one and I don't like it? We're gonna be going over and over what books to have in the library. I agree 100% with the intent, but how is it gonna work in the real world? How's it gonna work in the real world? And we voted, the board voted, I didn't, the board, I approved, I tickle to death you did, to give a meal to the library like we do every year. And that's what they count on. And while we're concerned about those books, and I definitely am too, Alderman Bostic, the fact is, the library does so much good for our community that we want to jeopardize any part of the good that they do. I just don't see how we can get the librarians down here and voice our concerns and see about the new contract, but I don't see how we, a board in one city, can have control over 14 libraries, and like pointed out, in different cities and in different counties. Alderman Bostic.
Did we always give this amount of money since 1973,
A meal. It depends on the value of a meal.
since the city was here?
I guess it's 73. I don't know.
I mean, we sold the land to them in 77, and the county built the building. Has the library always been funded through the budget of this city and all the rest of the municipalities? Has this always been something, or did this just come up in 2016 or 2005? Do you know, Billy?
It's been since 1997, since I've been around. We've been.
97?
And I'm, probably prior to that, I didn't go back and look.
Well, I can just say that if we don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything.
I agree with you. But how are you going to manage that? Alderman Bledsoe.
I still if we vote for the 140, later on, can we come back and tell our library, not all these others, our library, these books we don't agree with? Maybe have a committee or whatever, they might have a committee instead of one person. In our library, can we control that? Then if they go to Hernando, that's fine. I mean, it's our library.
Did you have something to say?
I was gonna say you can, but you've lost your leverage then, because you've given them the 140, and, we're gonna continue to pay Energy and everybody else.
Any more discussion? All right, we have a motion. I think Mr. Jim, would you read the motion? Please, sir.
Well, what I have, and I'd have to go back and get the stipulations, but it was to release the 140,000 with the stipulations that were mentioned to be set at the next discussion.
Well, there's the motion, okay? Would you call the roll, please, sir?
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree. Aye. Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Nay.
Alderman Geis.
Nay.
Alderman Bledsoe.
Nay.
Alderman Klein.
I'm gonna have to say nay.
Motion fails 4-3.
Mayor,
Alderman Geis.
make a motion to table this request till the next board meeting and request that a representative from the library be here and Alderman Bostic be able to present his information so we can make an informed decision on this $140,250. So, it's only a couple of weeks. I think the library will make it until then.
Next week.
Yes, sir. And then, that way he can present his information. We'll have a representative from the library here that can explain things, and maybe we can make an informed decision, because we all want to fund the library.
Yes.
And so waiting a week, I don't think is going to kill us. And then if I get a satisfactory answer, I'll go on and vote to fund this, and we can discuss it when we do the new contract.
We have a motion by Alderman Geis. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Bledsoe. Any discussion? A while ago, when the other Alderman failed, that, my way of thinking, maybe it'd been better to approve the ones we have to pay, hold up on the 140,000.
Well,
Mr. Campbell.
we already have approval for that, Mr. Mayor. I think that was made earlier, maybe a couple of months ago.
Okay, so the other part, everything else except the 140,000 is taken care of.
Yeah, I think we did that when y'all approved the budget. It's coming back to me now, because y'all had concerns back then, and I think y'all approved just paying what we're required to pay under the interlocal.
Thank you, sir. Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second to table this until November, November the what?
7th, unless we move the board meeting off an election day. But yeah.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion? Alderman Young?
Mr. Billy, can we table a motion that we've already turned down?
It's more or less just a motion to continue.
It's a new motion.
Yes, sir.
It's a new motion.
Yes.
Okay.
Got a motion, got a second. Any more discussion? Roll call, please, Mr. Jim.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. I noticed we had another sheet of paper here from the police department. Did you have anything for the board, chief?
That is actually from myself, but I was just going to bring that up in,
Disguising yourself as a policeman again.
well, my name's on it, so it wasn't a disguise. I was just waiting for the department head discussion.
Did you have anything to say, chief, or would we rather let, since this is a copy, would you rather let Mr. Robinson cover it? Whichever, your discretion, chief.
Yes, sir. He and Daniel have more knowledge of the copier itself and what, I can just say that it's, the copier we have now just is consistently not working. So that's why we're at the point we're at with what Mr. Jim has. But I'll let him speak on it.
Well, I don't know if Mr. Jim needs to, because the police chief just said she got something that's not working. Does anyone want to hear any discussion on this, or do we have a motion?
Mayor, I make the motion to approve the new copier for the police department.
We have a motion by Alderman Dupree. Do we have a second?
A second.
Second by Alderman Young. Any discussion? Oh, yes, sir, Alderman Klein.
Just out of curiosity, this $199 a month, is that kind of equal to what you're already paying?
Mr. Robinson.
I would have to look that up, but back, 6 years ago, when that lease began, we probably paid less as things have gone up. But this is still under state contract price. State contract price for this is over $200, and theirs is $199. But more than likely, 6 years ago, we started paying a lot less. Just the prices have gone up tremendously, and actually these come over from overseas, so we're paying a lot higher price.
Mayor,
Alderman Johnson.
how many copiers do we have on the premises?
Yeah, we have quite a few, probably close to, well, if you take in all three fire departments, Public Works, Animal Control, we probably have over 20, because every location has one, and several of us have multiple, because we have one in utilities, one in planning, two or three in police. The substation, I believe, has one. So there's.
Are they all serviced by different entities?
We've got them split. Majority of them are coming over to RJ Young, but it's between RJ Young and Dex Imaging.
And why is that? Why are they separate?
Well, when we started pricing them, when a lot of the Dex Imaging copiers were coming off lease, we got prices on those, and RJ Young has a cheaper price. Plus, they also they do everything in-house. The leasing and everything is all done through RJ Young, which we cut one check, which we like to do. With the Dex Imaging, they could not do a lease, so they always got another entity to do a lease. So we would cut a check to Dex Imaging, and then another check to the leasing company, which is more expense and time on our part. So we kind of went with the company, one, that was cheaper, and then two, they could do it all in-house, and it's just one person we deal with instead of Julie or Amy having to deal with two different entities.
All right, thank you.
Alderman Bledsoe.
I think our IT guy will speak on it.
Yes, sir.
I was available to answer any questions, but we did do price comparison when we replaced Fire Station 2 and PD substation and leased equipment here, and RJ Young is cheaper across the board. And we find better service.
All right, we had a motion. We had a second, didn't we? Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Young.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. I have nothing to further add, except everybody come out and enjoy the Spooktacular. Appreciate all the departments helping out, police, the fire, Public Works, parks. Appreciate every one of you helping out. Anybody have any questions or comments for anything or anybody right now? Anybody any of the department heads have anything you wish to say? Anybody have any questions for any department head?
Mayor, if I could speak just briefly on the lighting on Interstate Boulevard and Nail Road for a minute, if that would be okay.
Yeah, no, we don't want any discussion that's gonna lead to a motion.
Okay, this isn't a motion. I'm just kind of looking for guidance through the board with concerning the lighting on Nail Road and Interstate Boulevard. Just kind of wanting to know, right now I've been working with Energy to get that lighting done, and we've got, lighting that they're proposing to do that's not going to cost the city very much. But if we want to go into a different direction, if we're wanting to go more decorative lighting down there, it could possibly be an expense on the city for doing that. So I'm just kind of looking for guidance of what y'all are looking for Interstate Boulevard and Nail Road.
I know I sent that information from Energy to each one of the aldermen. And when you and I discussed the other day, Energy hadn't given you any prices yet.
Correct.
Have they given you any prices?
Not yet.
So we really don't know what we're,
Yeah, I mean, once I come up with something like that, I can present it to the board. I just kind of was wanting to feel out with what everybody really kind of like, what they're looking for. Because what Energy right now is proposing now is to put up lighting that would be basically like Goodman Road, lights that would light up, on one side and light up the entire lanes of Interstate Boulevard and Nail Road from like one side. And right now, I mean, if we want to go in a different direction or something like that, I just kind of would like to know so I could correspond better with them.
anybody have any questions? Alderman Klein?
Well, out of curiosity, Jim, since Goodman Road, we got those lights, it's been a tremendous savings, has it not? That type of lighting?
Yeah, they converted them into LEDs.
And so, the other lighting, the decorative, is that LED lighting?
It would probably still be an
It is.
LED lighting. It would just be to do certain things, what they're talking about, like if we go to a certain type of light, maybe that we have to have lights on both sides of the roads, may require directional boring, underground wiring, which that, when you start talking that, prices and stuff go up like that on things like that.
Mr. Fox, I think that, I know it's not you that can't get the price. You've been trying to get it. You just can't get it from any. Mr. Box has really tried to get you all this information. But I don't see how the board can decide what they want, well, they don't know what it costs.
Okay.
You know, does anybody on the board have any comments about that? Alderman Bledsoe.
Well, one thing, if we're gonna buy some, I wanna look at a picture. Hey, because our people run over these light poles pretty regular, and it's probably gonna cost quite a bit of money to replace one of those real fancy ones. So I'd like to see what it looks like. I like the plain old pole myself, but my
Yeah.
wife wouldn't, so.
Anybody else? Anything else, Mr. Box?
That's,
If you can possibly get that information.
I'm working hard, and I have asked them for, their construction plans and things like that to show us so that I can bring that stuff towards y'all.
I think the board would need that.
Yeah.
Alderman Dupree, did you have? Oh, no. All right.
Mayor,
I don't,
I do have, I placed at your seat the sales tax report.
a bad one.
October came in, which, when we get it in October, that represents August, since sales tax is 2 months behind. You can see that the last one there in that column is $635,105, which was a little over 16,000 less than the same month last year. You can see that column has a lot of red in it. Unfortunately, we've got a trend going this year, which is a lot less than last year. Unfortunately, with this economy, I think people are living paycheck to paycheck and spending a lot less. Well, obviously, they're spending a lot less because the numbers don't lie. But I will say, it's not all bad news. I mean, this is compared to last year, but if this last month, if September comes in at least at 600,000, we'll end the year with 7,399,000, which we will make budget because we had budgeted 7.3 million. But we are running less than we are last year. You can see last year we ended the year at 7.483. So we are going to come in under last year, but I feel pretty confident that we're going to at least make budget at 7.3 million.
Anybody have any questions? Mr. Campbell pointed out too, prior to the meeting, one possible reason for the decline is that a lot of those COVID funds are not available any longer for people to spend. And, all right, no other business? Is there a motion for this honorable board to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Young, second by Alderman Dupree. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Klein.
Aye.
Alderman Bledsoe. Alderman Geis.
Aye.
Alderman Bostic.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Dupree.
Aye.
Alderman Young.
Motion carries 7 in favor, none opposed. This honorable board is now adjourned.